Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to welcome to the July 10th, 2017 Board of Selectmen meeting. We have our first item is public participation, and it appears that we have one person that would like to speak.
Albert Daddario.
Albert Daddario.
Thank you so much, folks.
Sir, as you know, you have 3 minutes to.
I'm Albert Daddario from 1 Hope Terrace, and I've lived here with my wife Jane for 33 years. And I'm here to ask the board to enforce the town's sign bylaws, specifically bylaw 190-77 that prohibits signs in residential zones, and bylaw 190-78 that prohibits portable signs. A sign has been placed in front of my house by a business across the street, which is right on my sidewalk in front of my house. Now, for that sign to get there, you would have to cross Salem Street, and you would have to cross Lowell Street, so it's quite a distance away. Now, in my opinion, this sign wasn't put there to promote business. In my opinion, that sign was put there to intimidate, to harass, to bully, and to retaliate against my wife and I. I hope that this board can act quickly and rectify this situation so that my wife and I can live peacefully on Hope Terrace again. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it.
Minutes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the regular board minutes of June 26, 2017.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Presentation and action items. Mr. Mayo, could you give us the update on the Beasley Field?
Yes. In your package is a request from the school department. School committee actually voted on a request from Deborah Beasley to update the signage at Beasley Field to reflect the actual May 1977 dedication, where the field was dedicated as the Sean F. Beasley Track and Field. The family is paying for all of the upgrades, so there's no cost to the town. And as I said, the school committee did vote on it, and that's in your package. So that's right out here behind us.
Comments from members of the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion then to approve the request on the update of the signage at the Beasley Field to reflect it to say Sean F. Beasley Track and Field.
So moved.
So moved, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. The Community Spirit Award. As you all know in your packets from Mr. Mayo, we were trying to find one citizen in the town that stood up above the rest. I'm going to try to give a few members more of an opportunity to submit names to this. And instead of having this presented tonight, I'm going to ask that we add it to our August agenda and come to a determination prior to that and make the formal announcement in August.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
My understanding from the packet is it's not just one member. So if we had a couple of names put forth that were equally as great, we could vote too.
That's correct.
Okay.
I don't see that being an issue.
Okay. Thank you.
So if we don't just
No.
make it very good. So let's move on to we have the public hearing at 7:10. So can we move to the scheduled public hearing for the package? So right now we have we need to schedule a public hearing for the package store license for Prachi Corporation, DBA McDonough's Liquors, 13 Water Street for August 14, 2017 at 7:10 p.m.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Pool table?
5C.
Yep.
Let's move to 5C, licenses and permits. There is a pool table license request from the Clarion Inn, 595 North Ave.
I'd say the pool table is already there.
I would agree with you.
I didn't know you needed a license for a pool
You do.
table.
Yes, you do.
So they have a pool table?
Yes, you do.
Form of entertainment.
We'll get to your house next.
Is it only if it's coin operator or something, or just any?
I think it's like an entertainment license, the same sort of thing.
Same thing as a dance floor. Believe it or not, if you want a dance floor outside of the establishment, that's a separate permission. So, is there?
How long has it been there for?
Years, yeah.
Can we have a motion?
Because I haven't been there in years.
I move that we extend a license for the pool table at the Clarion Inn.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
We should have a town-wide pool table crackdown.
Is that a bylaw? That's something that maybe we tell the bylaw committee to look at also. Something we
Is that,
could,
Yeah.
okay. We could do that as well. For the crackdown on townwide, is that what you?
to maybe look at outdated
Okay, so now we're.
bylaws that don't need to be there anymore.
You can go around the table.
Okay, we have roughly about 3 minutes, so I'm going to.
Well, no, wait a minute.
What's that?
The common victual license and the entertainment licenses are not public hearing, so you could bring Mr. McGrail up for those, for the public kitchen, and do you mind doing those a little out of order?
I can just do a general presentation.
Yeah.
And then you can
Okay.
on those. I think by the time
Okay.
we get to 7:10, we'll be into it.
Okay.
Okay. So we gotta invite him up.
Invite him up, yeah.
Mr. McGrill.
It'll take us 3 minutes, I'll get seated.
And then we can start. So that's fine.
Come on up, Boris. Yeah, come on up. Get back over here. Good evening.
All yours, Mr. McGrill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Attorney Brian McGrail with offices at 599 North Avenue, Wakefield, Massachusetts. Here tonight on behalf of JRMM Inc., doing business as Public Kitchen, and Karen's Restaurants Inc., pursuant to licensing hearings on the following. The first, as we've talked about, is a request to grant a common victual license and entertainment license for 12 televisions. The second is a request to allow the transfer of an all-alcohol license currently held by Karen Restaurants, Inc., DBA Karen's Restaurant and Sports Bar, to JRM Inc., DBA Public Kitchen, relating to property known and numbered as 395-397 in Main Street in Wakefield, resulting in the issuance of the all-alcohol license to JRMM Inc., DBA Public Kitchen. The final licensing hearing is a request to allow for the alteration of the premises for improvements to occur at a portion of the property at 395-397 Main Street. With me tonight are the 4 shareholders of JRMM Inc. To my right is Richard Telleri, who is the shareholder, president, and treasurer of the corporation. To my immediate left is Joseph Pinarello, who is a shareholder, secretary, and clerk of the corporation. To his left is Maurice Flores, who is a shareholder, and Michelle Marculia, who is also a shareholder. And Michelle is also the proposed manager of the all-alcohol license. The applications have been filed with your board, and public notice has been given by publication in the Wakefield Daily Item and by mail as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 138. I worked with your board secretary, Sherry Dalton, in that regard, and I'd like to thank her for her efforts to make sure that we fully comply with those requirements as usual. This portion of 395-397 Main Street has housed a restaurant since 1997, when the Duck Walk came to downtown. That was followed by Karen's Restaurant. Currently, JRMM Inc. has entered into a lease with the owner of the building for the same space formerly occupied by the Duck Walk and currently occupied by Karen's Restaurant. JRMM, as you know from your packet, has entered into a purchase agreement, an asset purchase agreement with Karen's Restaurant, and included is obviously a transfer of the licenses that are before your board tonight. The building at 395-397 also houses Sakura Restaurant and the Philip Champa Salon. The building, as I'm sure you're aware, is always in pristine condition. It's well-maintained, it's cleaned, it's kept up. In addition to the applications, we've provided copies of the asset purchase agreement between Karen's and JRMM. We've provided a copy of the signed lease, the floor plan with the proposed changes. We have provided all of the personal information forms from the shareholders, the owners of the corporation. We've provided the corporate votes that are required, and also other documentation that is required by your board and also by the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission. Today, we submitted an updated version of the floor plan, the purpose of which was to assure compliance with the handicap bathroom requirements. Since we had submitted that plan to your board through the town administrator last week, we've had an opportunity to meet with the building inspector, Mr. Roberto, and our architect worked diligently with Mr. Roberto. We thank him today to assure that the restaurant will meet all of the current handicap bathroom requirements. So if you look at your plan, that's really where the main change occurred, to make sure that there's handicap bathrooms for both male and female and the adequate number of bathrooms and toilets, which are required by Massachusetts Building Code and Plumbing Code. So there is now full compliance on that plan. Public Kitchen's business plan is an upscale gastropub-themed restaurant. As Rich describes it to me, edgy pub food. And I'm sure maybe you'll have some questions for him about what that means. But that's their business plan and the type of food that they want to have on their menu. The restaurant will include 99 seats. There currently are 99 seats, so there's no increase in seating from what was with the Duck Walk and what was included with Karen's operation. Of the 99 seats, 20 of them will be bar seats, as is depicted on the plan. Besides the bathroom changes, the alteration plan includes windows that will slide open in the front of the restaurant to give an outdoor dining experience. This is similar to what you might see in a lot of Boston restaurants in the North End or along Newbury Street, where the front windows just kind of accordion and open up to open up the whole front of the restaurant on nice days. The plan is to be open 7 days per week, serving both lunch and dinner. The four shareholders of the corporation who are, as you know, with me tonight, Maurice, Michelle, Rich, and Joe, all come with resumes filled with experience in the restaurant industry. Maurice has been in the restaurant industry for 18 years, working alongside Richard at Giacomo's Restaurant in the South End since 2002. Michelle, the proposed manager of the all-alcohol license, started 19 years ago in the hospitality industry, mostly in restaurants in the North Shore. As is required, we have submitted a detailed breakdown of her experience in the application. She has been in Melrose for the past 6 years, first at a restaurant by the name of Absolutely Fabulous, and currently at Giacomo's Restaurant, Melrose, as general manager. Michelle is tip certified and ServSafe certified. Richard started cooking in 1994 at Giacomo's Restaurant in the North End. In 2000, he moved to Giacomo's Restaurant South End, at that time overseeing both kitchens. In 2006, he bought Anchovies Restaurant and Bar in the South End with business partner Joe DiNarello. Two years later, he became a partner in Panza on Hanover Street. And in 2016, he was one of the founding partners to open up Giacomo's Restaurant in Melrose. He currently maintains watch over all kitchen and cook, and he currently cooks in the Melrose location, but he manages all of the kitchens in all of the restaurants. Joe DiNarello started in the food service industry in the 1980s. He waited tables at Mama Cantina until he was asked to be a partner at Giacomo's Restaurant in the South End. He's currently involved in Giacomo's Restaurant South End, Anchovies, Panza, and Giacomo's Restaurant Melrose. In his free time, Joe continues to wait tables at least 3 nights a week and does all the bookkeeping for all the restaurants. He's a pretty busy guy, but he likes to go back to that roots of waiting tables. All of the restaurants that I have just mentioned that these folks are involved in are extremely popular, and they have impeccable reputations. They're very well known throughout the area, and they have continual customer base that come from other towns from where they're located. They bring in a lot of customers and customer base from other cities and towns that frequent them, and people just keep coming back and back. They're very successful. JRMM Inc. and these individuals are making a pretty significant investment and commitment to downtown Wakefield. As you probably noticed, their lease that we submitted shows a 5-year initial lease with 3 5-year options for a total of 20 years. So they're looking to stay for a while. Notwithstanding the excellent physical condition of the existing restaurant, it is in very nice shape. The prior owner invested a lot of money and time into the facility. The public kitchen is making significant improvements in the property and going to spend approximately $30,000 in renovations that will include the bathroom work that we talked about, some cosmetic work on the inside, and the installation of the new facade that will include the opening windows in the front. The property is currently benefited with a special permit from the Board of Appeals that allows the 99-seat restaurant. We will be appearing before the board in the near future, the Board of Appeals, to obtain an assignment of that special permit, which is somewhat of a ministerial event, but we will go before them to accomplish that. My clients are looking for an 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., 7-day-per-week license. That is consistent with what is existent at the property currently with Karen's. As Rich explained to me today, they don't anticipate that they'll be open till 1 a.m. a lot, that usually the dinner crowd kind of quiets down at 10:30 or 11, but they would rather not be limited if they don't have to be. My clients are excited to bring their extensive resumes and the public kitchen and dining experience to downtown Wakefield and become part of this community. In the packet, we have submitted a letter of support, for lack of a better term, from the mayor of Melrose, where Giacomo's Melrose is located. I was very impressed by that letter that the mayor went so far out in his letter of recommendation. That's what we have, Mr. Chairman. We're happy to...
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
We have a motion.
Second. Yep.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 We are now in a public hearing. Thank you, sir.
Can you just repeat all that?
From the beginning. And a little clearer this time.
I charge by the hour, so I'd be happy to do it again.
Give him the account rate.
That's how it works in Wakefield.
I have a couple questions, if I may. First one, Maurice, is it Maurice?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Are you also Maurice Alexander? Because there seems to be two of you
Yes.
floating around all these documents and on the application. So,
Yeah.
what's with the two names? Just kind of curious.
My first name is Maurice, and my middle name is Alexander.
Okay. You're on the docs here. The application is Maurice Alexander. So, I just didn't know if there was a reason or if we had two names or something. All right. And then the second, I want to fix that. The second thing is the windows that open in the front of the restaurant. Is it just the two that I kind of see on the plan? I also saw that on the lease. Looks like there's two windows that open, or those doors that open, and then is it the entire front of the restaurant that will?
There's two doors currently there, and I think that we're going to, if you're looking at it, the door to the left, we're taking all that glass down anyway. That's not going to be there. I think it's just an extra door. I think it's been there for a long time.
That nobody ever uses, right? Is that?
It's nobody uses.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, okay.
And we'll just have the foyer, the handicap foyer with the doors in there. And then the windows will open going left to right before you kind of have that return from the left to the right on the if you're looking at it from the street.
The deepest part, the furthest out of the sidewalk
Exactly.
part, those
Yeah.
will all open?
Yeah.
And are you, any plan, or are you aware of the, our sidewalk dining?
We figured we'd table that till January and then come back and start that process because this one was a little involved at the moment.
Oh, really? I think that's a pretty easy process, just so you know, and highly encouraged. So,
Yeah, we'll definitely be back.
Yeah. You definitely need a lawyer, though, to do it.
It's actually a more involved project than this, believe it or not. If you look at the application.
I know it is to get all the measurements and make sure people
you
can
need
go by.
measurements and-
I know there's a lot to it, but you have a very receptive board when you need to get that.
And the
so.
Board of Appeals decision allows for that already.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't
Good.
have to go back
Good.
there.
All right. And then one other question. Hours you mentioned closes at, or the ending time is 1 a.m. Is that 7 days a week?
Correct.
It is? Okay. And 11 a.m. is the start time is 7 days a week?
Correct, that's what's on the current license.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm always a fan of making the hours as broad as possible, not because we want you to be open all night, but when there's a football game or the event, or you host some group and they want to stay a little later, we'd rather have it be easier for you. So that's all.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chair, there's one inconsistent spot in the application where it is references Alexander. We will fix that before it's submitted to ABCC.
Yeah, and I apologize.
No, I appreciate you pointing it
I just
out.
happened to be looking at it, and you were introducing people, and I was ticking them off on the ownership
Yeah.
list, and you said Flores, and it says
It's
Alexander.
on one spot where the
Yeah.
last name is.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm glad you're sorry. I'm sure ABCC will probably ask about it too.
Yeah.
Glad
Every
to
so
fix it now.
often, you know, if you do a search for Maurice Alexander, it comes up with nothing, and Maurice Flores has a record this long. So you don't. I'm just. I think. All right. I'm good for now. Go ahead.
Any other comments from the members of the board at this moment?
Just welcome. I mean, we're so excited. I think it's an unbelievable addition to downtown Wakefield. And for myself, the Jacobs in the North End, 25 or 30 years ago, how long?
33.
Right, it was my favorite restaurant in the North End, as well as my mother's. So I think we're so lucky to have a business like that. And even in talking to the owner of Secores, Mark Zong, he was so excited to have a good, I think a good restaurant is good for all other restaurants as well. So I'm happy.
As I said, I had a few questions. Brian asked a few of them already, so I'm just going to go with a couple. When you say this door open, is it going to be grade level to jump, so they're going to be able to walk out from the inside?
You're talking the windows?
Yes.
They're about 1.5 feet up, so there is a wall there.
There will be a wall there.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah,
going to be
they won't
something that they can walk from
no,
the sidewalk.
no,
Okay,
you'll-
that's
yeah.
the first question. The liquor license and the operation from 11 to 1, what time will the latest be that a person can come in and order food?
Probably 10 o'clock during the week, 10:30 on the weekends.
Okay.
And we probably won't exercise the max hours like on certain events, like you said, but if it's pretty similar to what we do in Melrose during the week, we're out of there at 10:30, on the weekends 11:30, and I think that it's safe to say that we want to maintain that, because I think you can get some riffraff later on in the night.
Right, so if the business dictates it, you will stay to the maximum amount. It's like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, you may reach the 12:30 mark of being open. Would that be safe to say?
We may
Would you have
exercise
it, so so I'm leading to, well, if the kitchen closes at 10:30, will you have a late menu to accommodate the people that are in there until 12:30? Or will they just be socializing and drinking from 10:30 till 12:30?
I'm not really sure what it might call for. If we get there and we start to, we see that we're staying open a little bit later and people want food, then we would. It's sometimes the long shift and the travel time doesn't, as it gets later in the night, people getting rides can be tough on the kitchen. So, I really don't want to be open too late, so.
Understand
Yeah.
that. It's just a thing that if the kitchen closes early, if they're just in the...
I mean, we don't want to turn it into a huge bar scene.
That's right.
Like late at night. We don't want that.
Understand. Thank you.
It's very food driven.
Yeah, I think we're looking at a totally different clientele than maybe the past tenant.
I wasn't really going with the clientele. I was
Okay.
just thinking of someone that wanted to eat if they came out late.
Okay.
So if town meeting gets over at 10:30 and we want to grab something to eat,
McDonald's is across the street.
well, that's what I'm saying. So Giacomo's, the public kitchen wouldn't be a place that we would go to. It's just a simple thing like that. But other than that, I am excited to have you come into Wakefield.
Thank you.
I think you'll bring an essence into the downtown that is well sought by a lot of patrons. So I think you're going to do very well, and I hope that you do very well.
Mr. Chair, just one.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You may have mentioned earlier, I wasn't sure if you had said the date that you think you'll be able to open. I know you're putting about $30,000 in upgrades, which is great.
Actually, that number increased recently.
Okay, so you're putting $100,000 in upgrades in, but one, we're just very happy that you're here because it's a great spot, and we want to fill it with a great restaurant. But time-wise, do you think it's late August, September, October?
Probably October. Probably
October.
October. I think this whole process will wrap up by the end of the summer.
Okay.
And we'll start, our construction's starting now, so we'll try to match it up and, start to fill the staff maybe mid-September and, shoot for an October opening.
Okay, so that's pretty realistic, early October.
I believe so,
Okay.
but there is construction
I know,
involved, so.
I just wanted to get
Yeah.
a start date.
Yeah,
Good. Welcome.
thank you.
Yes.
Is the Wakefield location similar to the Melrose location in size?
It is.
It is?
Yes.
And how many employees are you expecting?
12.
12.
Yeah.
So what other permits are you waiting on? Just kind of curious. So you're here, you got the ZBA.
Well, it just goes to the ABCC after this, which could take 6
Yeah.
weeks. So.
Okay, so that's your last, so you're all done at the ZBA?
Well, the ZBA is just a transfer of the special permit. So I think that will probably happen at their
Is it a
meeting at
minor
the end of July.
modification or something, or is that what you're
It's just
doing?
the building inspector just wants it transferred, wants them to vote to transfer it, so, which is fine. And then we also then will have to go back for a sign permit,
Of course.
but they can open before that.
Okay.
That will take about 2 years.
Good.
Only kidding.
I know. All right, so that's, so when do you think your lease will probably start then? In like 6 weeks?
Yeah, lease starts on, what
August
did she
1st.
say for July? And we start August 1st.
I think the commencement date's July 1, it's in the packet.
It's after you get all your permits. It's the
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Right.
But the lease took effect July 1 technically. When rent is paid depends on permitting.
Yeah, rent starts on the,
Yeah. Yep.
so let's hope they slow roll it at the ABC for you. So, All right.
That works in your favor.
All right, cool. I think I'm good. I think it's great. Welcome. Like I said, anything you need from us? Anything else to help you guys out, get off the ground? Think about it. So we're here to support everybody.
So if we're asked the type of food that you will be serving, basically?
Now you can explain what,
Well, it's a public kitchen.
Well-
It's not going to be Giacomo's.
No. Burgers and wings and tacos and fish tacos and flatbread pizzas and chili and lobster mac and cheese, kind of comfort food like that.
Great. Great.
Great.
I like it. Any further comments from the board? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak? There is no more comments. Do a close public hearing.
You can,
Got one motion, or we need three?
you can vote on this.
Okay, vote on it first. Okay, so we have four items that we need to vote on, correct?
Yes, and one of them is that in your vote, the Board of Selectmen needs to determine that the licensing of all alcohol relating to the premises is not detrimental to the educational and/or spiritual activities of any school or church. I think there may not be one within the distance, but it doesn't hurt, just in case.
Yeah. I move we approve the transfer of the liquor license. Start there.
Including this?
I think you'd want a separate vote.
Okay, separate vote, okay.
Yeah, I was going to do, you think there's 4 things, right? So I
There's
move
maybe
we,
5 if I'm not mistaken, but if you can do it.
4 together.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So I move we approve the transfer of the liquor license.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
And move we make a finding that the intended use as a serving alcohol is not detrimental to any school, or is it detrimental?
Educational or spiritual activities.
Is it just detrimental
School
or unduly detrimental, whatever the language might be, to any school or educational or spiritual use within the area?
Second?
Second. Oh.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
What is the next one?
What else do we need?
I think
Alterations?
No, the victuals license. We have a motion to,
I'm not in favor of that one.
not in favor of that. Okay.
So moved.
So do I have a second? Second? All in favor? Aye.
Entertainment.
Entertainment license.
So move that we grant the entertainment license.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Was it a fifth?
That's it.
That's it?
the alteration of the premises?
Oh, the alteration of the premises.
Alteration of the premises, so a motion to.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anything else you want approval from us for, right, at the moment?
drive-through window maybe?
Good.
Who's on the menu?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other contractors to
Absolutely.
At this time,
Thank you.
be safe, have a good night. Oh, thank you. Warrant review and signing.
I move we close the public hearing.
Oh, yes.
I second that.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All in
Welcome.
favor? Thank you. Mr. Longo, warrant review and signing? Would you like to make a report?
No, just the very typical day-to-day bills for the town. Nothing
you,
out of
sir.
the ordinary.
Mr. Longo signed warrant 46, 50, and 52, for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayo. The last item on the agenda is items not foreseen by the chairman in the last 48 hours. So we will start to my left. Marie?
Sure, I just wanted to give folks a little update. So I am the Wakefield Municipal Gas and Light Department liaison, and I met with them last week, and they told me about this great program that they have that's been advertised around town. So I just wanted to mention it, that you get a special rebate if you purchase a new 2017 Nissan Leaf electric car. It's a $10,000 rebate. I know one person in town has already participated, and we are adding another charger in town, in the center of town, and they'll help you replace the chargers in your own garage. So it's a great program, available till September 1st, so look into it if you're interested.
Great. Thank you very much.
Based on some citizens' concerns, the Greenwood Station was looked at by the MBTA and a bunch, I think Steve went and some other folks, and they responded very quickly and very appropriately. They've cleaned up that area. They painted the train shack. Kind of
Flagman's house?
Flagman's house. Flag person's house. No one got that.
I got it.
They painted that. I was there actually when they were painting it. But they cleaned it up. It looks nice. And the business did some cleaning up of, I think. So thank you to the MBTA and certainly those citizens for coming forward. And I assume that what Mr. D'Addario said we can send to the
Already been sent.
I am sure it has. All right. Thank you so much.
Mr. Longo.
I just want to thank the Wakefield Independence Day Committee and the West Side Social Club and the police, the fire. July 4 was really just Wakefield one day. It was just a tremendous showing for the town. I had a great time in the parade, fireworks. We had the local band, the Buckley Brothers. Just great work by everybody. Just a first class day for the town.
Thank you very much. Mr. Falvey.
Let's see. I wasn't here for the discussion about what we might want to call ourselves as a board, so just figured I'd lay in where I kind of stand on it. Quite frankly, I don't really care a whole lot what we call ourselves moving forward. I would say that if we want to do something about the name of the board, because it seems to be gender specific and a gender neutral board, I think that it's consistent with a lot of things that are going on in the world. I also think it's probably not a discussion that is a good one for us to spend several hours on or anything like that. So I'll just say I've thought about it as I've kind of watched from afar, and I've voiced to a few folks that I think the name Board of Directors is a fitting name. I realize it has corporate overtones, but that's actually why it works. A Board of Directors in a corporation, their job is to set policy and large directional activities while they delegate the day-to-day operations to the CEO. It's exactly the structure we have here in our town. We have a board that delegates, day-to-day operations to our CEO, Steve Mayo. He's basically the CEO of the town. So I know this because when I travel a lot, I explain to people what I do, and I say I'm on the Board of Selectmen, and when they crook their head and wonder what that is, I say it's like the Board of Directors for the town. And it clicks instantaneously. They know what I'm talking about. So I think then when you start playing it out, when you run for office, you'd be running for director of, town director. You just think through all of its logical activities. So it's gender neutral. I think it does the best job of describing what our role is as a policy-making entity in the town. It makes sense when you're running for things, and of course, it's gender neutral. So I'd be wholly in favor of changing it to something like that. Now, I realize we can't change it. It's not in our purview. It's something that has to be changed at the charter level. I would guess that if we published a notice that a public notice that the Board of Directors of the town of Wakefield was meeting, would probably be violating the public meeting law, because we have to say the Board of Selectmen is meeting, which is what it's called in the charter. So unless and until it's formally changed, I don't think we can take any official action under that name. But I do think there's no reason why we couldn't, refer to ourselves as the Board of Directors, say, formally known as, just for safety's sake, the Board of Selectmen. And I also think we should make a recommendation to, a formal recommendation from this board, if we so choose, to the Charter Committee that says, we think this is proper and good for the town. It brings us into the modern era where everything is gender neutral, and, let's just do it and move on. I think that would be great. It's an important issue. It's not, gender neutrality and all that is a larger issue that transcends Wakefield for sure. So we're not going to solve it all here, but I think we can do our part and just recognize the importance of being gender neutral. So I don't know when we can do that, if it's allowed to be brought up now. If anybody's interested, I'd rather make a motion now and say let's move forward and call ourselves that and send off a letter to the Charter Committee. Or is it improper to address it? I don't think it's a very substantive matter, since we're not making an official change. It's just kind of what we want to call ourselves. It's almost an opinion and a recommendation. I don't know if you need notice to do that.
Yeah, it's not so much a matter of notice as it is a matter of complying with the open meeting law's requirement of including on the agenda every topic.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Discussed. So what I like to see this going around the table as an opportunity to raise topics for future meetings.
Okay.
And if I could just suggest, the bylaw committee also ought to be brought into this, not just the Charter Review Commission.
Whoever the appropriate body is.
Yeah, because both the charter and the bylaw make frequent reference to the Board of Selectmen, and both would have to be changed.
Right. Yeah. Or both would, if they both choose. So we can only make our recommendation. We don't have the power to make the change. Right. But that would be I've put some thought into it. I've run it by a few of you on this board, and I've run it by others outside the board, and it seems to resonate that name makes sense. It handles the gender neutrality. So I'd be all in favor of that if we could get it done. That's it for me.
Well, thank you, Paul. I don't miss. The town administrator and I went to see the U.S. Coast Guard housing up on Tarrant Lane this week, and it appears that we're not going to get the land back from the government. That's a given. The bidding started, Steve, was that Wednesday or Thursday?
I think it was Thursday.
So yeah. Thursday morning. So we saw the land, which has 12 houses, all about 1,207 square feet on it, all built in about 54. So I just wanted to put it out there just to think about maybe having a discussion on it. It probably will be sold over the next couple of months. The bidding is going to take place, and it's going to end when the government decides it's time to end it. Its purchase price would probably end up being $1.5 million to $3 million. It's just anyone's guess. I'm not sure if we want to just say, no, we don't want to discuss it any further, or is this something that maybe we should act on? It'd probably be a couple months before it's sold, but I just wanted to put it out there just so the 3.74 acres, once we lose it, it's gone. So whether it remains, with 12 houses, or that's torn down and condos go up or apartments go up, If the town can use it in some way, now's the time to decide. If not, that's fine too. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that it's going to take place, the sale. And if we want to have any input, now's the time to have the input. Or that's it, it's gone. So,
I'll comment on that.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a long-term auction. It's not some stand on the property like an auctioneer. It's basically
Right.
taking bids over time.
Right.
What's our ability to buy it? I mean, obviously, I think we have to go to town meeting and all that, but I bet can we even put it under agreement and then hope to get approval at town meeting?
I don't know if the government would accept a bid that's contingent on a town meeting vote.
Yeah, they may not, but it's also our government, so.
That's how we'd have to do it.
I mean, do we want to take a run at it? What's going to happen is, whoever owns the parcel next door is most likely going to buy it, or somebody like that. Its highest use up there, given what's already around it, will be more apartment buildings and things. The project that's in there was put in under 40B, both the for sale condos and the for rent towers that are there. So, which is nice because when you do a 40B rental, we get 100% credit in the affordable housing stock instead of just the 25%. So it could be a good thing for our 40B status if somebody went in there and did it again. On the other hand, is there value to us? And I always get my kind of smack my lips at the idea of flipping it. Can we get some local preference that the government sells it to us and then we put it out to bid? But again, we can put it out to bid with our own terms and conditions on the sale and have more control over what gets built there. So we might want a 40B, but again, we could control it from the outset as the seller. We might also want something else. Maybe we want it to be single family. Maybe we want it to be fields. I don't know what, but just food for thought. So, and not just thought, food for response. Anybody have an opinion or a thought? Am I the crazy guy here, or is this something viable, albeit knee-jerk?
My understanding that it'd be very difficult to put apartments or condos there, high-density units, because the sewage, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is run through Reading, where it draws Wakefield water?
Water is run through Reading. Water is obtained through Reading.
Reading and Wakefield sewage, so I had it backwards. So it may be hard to put apartments there, no?
Did you see the ones that are there?
Yeah.
That's still Wakefield property right behind it.
And it's still the same Wakefield's sewage running water?
Yep, same
The next
deal.
one over, though,
They ran a line right up the street.
The next one over is Reading, though. It's very confusing.
Summit Towers and the yellow condos, I'll call it, that's in Reading. The row of condos that are up that driveway that gets you to the new tower they built are all in Wakefield.
Why does everybody get run their sewage from Wakefield?
We're awesome at it.
Why don't we make the whole discussion a future agenda?
Well, it's
And then
time
we have a real-
sensitive, so I'm just kind of curious if we can discuss it in the future, but I'm just wondering
We
from,
just put it onto the next agenda on the August meeting.
yeah, but I'm wondering from Steve and Tom, is it even,
Brian's pointing
are we
like-
crazy? Are we discussion over, or is there worth looking at, or?
Oh, I think we can certainly, I've been in contact with
Seth.
Senator Moulton's
Right.
office on this. We did receive a bid package, which I do have, that just came out. They are very vague in talking to the GSA about kind of when this will end. Well, we don't know when it's going to end, but I don't think it's something this board would have to make a decision on, and it would have to be contingent upon funding at town meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would have, but that's our system. You're
Are
right.
there criteria in the bid package for how they pick the winner? Is it
My opinion is
straight
the
up price?
criteria is, from what I'm hearing and talking to them, it's straight up price.
I mean, it would make sense, but you never know if there's a little. Either they painted themselves into a corner where they just have to sell it to the highest bidder, or they allowed themselves in their documentation to make a decision on other criteria, which would be a nice backdoor for us to go talk to Seth Moulton or somebody else and say, we have a real need or use for the town of Wakefield that we'd like to use, kind of leverage that hole in that RFP, if you will, and find a way to maybe get it for cheap price. Maybe we want to use it as soccer fields, lacrosse fields, or something like that. It's maybe a little small, that might be too expensive. Just think outside the box. It doesn't have to be flipped into housing.
Representative Moulton's office was very good about setting up a conference call with the GSA, which I think took some maneuvering on his part. What the GSA told me at that call was that their goal is to get as much as they can for this property because they are using it, the Coast Guard is using it to build housing where they need it. So that was their nexus. Just full disclosure. That's what they told me.
The big vague part, though, is that you don't know when the bidding's going to stop. It depends on the activity. If it's a lot of activity, they'll let it go a little longer, and they'll eventually take the top 2 bids because in case one...
Then negotiate with both.
Exactly. So we don't know if it's going to end, Steve, from what we heard from the GSA representatives, if it's going to end in a month, 2 months, 3 months. So it is time sensitive. I don't know how time sensitive it's going to be if we put it off to the next meeting. I don't know. It's just you take a chance a little bit. But,
It'd be interesting.
yeah.
I was looking at pictures my daughter did as an aside. Was doing like a little part of her history work, had to do something local, and so we went and did research on the Nike missile site. And now I always ask people in Reading if they know why their high school is called the Reading Rockets, and a lot of people don't know. They don't know, and that was the control site. So there weren't any missiles up there. They were actually Burbank Ice Arena is where all the missiles were. So when you drive down the road going to Burbank Ice Arena and you go past the rink on the left, there's a big field.
Yeah.
That entire field was rows.
The soccer field?
It's like a baseball field.
Yeah.
Rows of missiles were out there, and then their kind of control buildings were around where the rink is, and then that's where the missiles were, and then where the actual human beings were that launched the missiles were up on the hill by the water tower up there, and they had this housing was part of that complex. And if you look at those old pictures in the 50s and 60s, those exact little houses are all there just as they are today. It's kind of cool. So
I think it's worth it putting on the agenda because we're getting, to a point, it's almost a discussion. So putting it on the agenda for the next meeting, I think what you raise is really interesting. To look into whether or not it's feasible for the town.
yeah, it's how many acres?
3.74.
So call it 4 acres of open land on a hilltop in Wakefield are for sale, and we've got nothing to do with them.
Right.
Maybe we should just kind of throw our nose in, at least screw it up for somebody at first,
Raise the price.
You're taking a look at it makes sense, without a doubt.
Robert's more money.
Anything else?
And I would like to, hey, just as part of that, Steve, can you send me the package that you have? Because I'd like to look at what the evaluation criteria are. I mean, maybe we can work with a bidder, and when they go in, even if we don't participate in the bid, if they walk in hand, hey, we've got a Wakefield-friendly development we want to put in, we've met with the selectmen, they're on board, maybe they get preference as a bidder, and we actually have some sort of agreement that gives us a little more say over, just what the next thing is that's going to be built in Wakefield. That's a pretty big chunk of land.
Very good. Sure. First, yep. Tom?
Well, Mr. Chairman, you've anticipated everything, so I have nothing to add.
Thank you, Tom.
I'm listening to our attorney here, so.
Yeah, right.
Just you.
Just me. Okay, so the only thing that I would like to request, I received a request from the PAWS organization. They're looking for a proclamation from the town or the town administrator to dedicate October 14th to be proclaimed Pause Day in Wakefield. So I'd like to have that added to the agenda as well for our next meeting. Mr. Mayor and I have been in discussion now on a multiple of items for the board to consider to help with merchants during the tough times, bringing people from the lake into our downtown. I'd like to bring both those to the meeting as well in August, just to give the board an update and see what their thoughts are and whether or not we should move forward as a group in promoting both of them. So one would be to as a walkability move from the lake to downtown, and the other one is a selective program to enhance businesses during either the slow months in summer or the winter season when the 12 inches of snow on the ground and businesses are slow. So those are the only items that I have at this present moment to discuss. If there's nothing else from the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.